Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. I've got with me Rob Berk, owner of Pastimes Arcade and founder and organizer of the Pinball Expo and 19 other prestigious titles. Say hi, Rob.
Hey guys, glad to be here. And it's not too often I'm around superstars. Normally the superstars attract all the women. So to have all the women not be around today, it's a pretty rare opportunity just to be able to talk to them and uninterrupted.
Rob's a flattering individual. And I'm joined by my co host, MPT3K.
Hey, hey.
For those of you that don't know, Manu runs a channel on Twitch as well as YouTube and provides some pinball content to the community. We're here today to get you hyped and tell you what to expect about Expo. We're a week away, guys. As of the time of this recording, we are 7 days and 5 hours and some change from the start of Pinball Expo. This is my third year. I am super pumped to go. There are other trade shows in the country, but I got to tell you, and not just because Rob's here, but I've told Manu this. I love Expo. It's where the industry goes. It's where everything is happening. So, yeah. Without further ado, I'll get right into the questions. Rob, how does it feel to be celebrating the 40th year of Pinball Expo, and what are some of the biggest changes to the community you've seen over the years since you devised this monster?
Well, one thing is surreal to see it, for the show to get this far. The first year I did it, my whole reason for doing Expo was to honor my heroes who were the designers and the artists. So this is back in the early 70s, and I grew up playing the games in the 60s. And there was so much joy out of playing these games. And I thought to myself, man, it's the designers. They're the guys that deserve the accolades, not the guys that are sitting on top of, the 30th floor in the penthouses and collecting the money. It's the guys that created these games because they're the games we'd love to play. So that's why I decided in '85 to do the show. And to me, initially, it was just one and done. Recognize my heroes, and that's it.
And I think you said there was like 60 to 100 people there that first year.
100 people, and my whole goal was to honor the designers, and we had Norm Clark, Steve Prodek, Wayne Nines, and Harvey Heiss. At the time, Harvey Heiss was in his mid 80s. Now Harvey worked for Genco, but between the four guys, they created over 600 games. So I had these guys be recognized, and everyone at the banquet stood up and applauded. And these guys actually had tears in their eyes. They couldn't believe it. They just figured they were 9-to-5 guys. They were just another John Doe. They couldn't believe that someone actually finally would recognize them. So it was very, very rewarding. And, I was done after the first year. And then 6 months into the next year, I started getting phone calls. When's the next show? I said, there is no next show. We're done. I thought, oh, no, this is too much fun. Well, we're still going, guys. This is number 40. So it's hard to say how much longer we'll go. I do know this. I keep looking in the mirror, and I got less and less hair. But you know what happens, like it does with you guys, Marty. I think for you to run this channel, and Manu, is when you have the passion speaks for itself. And anyone who's got the passion, they're the people that are successful in anything in life.
Yeah.
And it's not about the dollars. Yeah, they might come here and there, but it's about the passion of seeing everybody smile and be happy. So for you, Marty, to say it's my favorite show, I can't wait for it. This gives me more gratitude than anything else, because the show is for you guys, the collectors, the enthusiasts, the players,
and the creators,
and the diehards, and the guys that really dig the hobby.
Yeah. Manu?
Well, I got to say, Rob, I mean, I don't know anyone who has more passion about pinball than you do. And one of the things that is amazing about you is you're a Guinness World Record holder, correct?
Yep, that's something pretty crazy. We opened up this game room called Pastimes. It was a name I had in my mind for a long time. Finally pulled it out of the back of my head and made it into a reality with this museum/arcade. But we were celebrating our 1-year anniversary, and the press came down and they were interviewing me for the opening of the Pastimes. And before they left, my daughter says, wait a minute, we got something else to announce. So I don't know what's going on. And then she hands me this package. I open it up, and here it's from the Guinness people saying, recognize me with the largest collection of pinball machines. And I'm not sure if it's the world or the U.S., but this is over 1,000 unique titles.
That's the key there. It's the unique
Yeah, there's a lot
titles.
of guys out there that collect games and have a lot of games, but to have so many unique titles is like, man, this guy's lost his mind. And
I want you to make sure you know, Rob, you are the world record holder, just so you're aware.
crazy. So it's exciting. Of course, it's not too often I get thrown off, but this time my daughter got me, and it was really exciting to accept that award.
Can I be the one to ask, what was your very first pinball machine?
Growing up, there was a game. It's sitting in the home of my family's home. It was a game by United called Babyface, and you don't see that game too often. Even for those that collect older games, must be a low production run. But as a kid growing up, it was a lot of fun. Didn't know really exactly what it was, pinball, what it meant. Knew nothing about the industry, but it was fun. And then when I got into college and started going to game rooms in the college that were filled with pinball machines, well, that was just happened to me because I enjoyed playing them so much. So there's an expression in the fireworks business: once you smell the smoke, you're never again free. So I think I should carry that over to the pinball hobby. It's like once you smell the wires getting warm, you're never the same person again. You get hooked on the passion of the industry.
Yeah. So that was your first game, and then they say pinball machines are like eating potato chips. You can't just have one.
Right. So then I said to my dad, boy, I'd like to have another machine. And he said, all right, let me look around. So he found a machine called Texan, another oddball title. And this game
That's a
came out in
great
1960.
machine.
Who knows about that game?
I know about that game. Texan is wonderfully fun, and you have a pristine Texan.
Only the cool dudes know about that game. How do you know about it?
Well, I mean, there's recreations of these old EMs, Rob, that introduce young whippersnappers like me to those tables, and then you see them at Pinball Expo because some maniac with a huge collection brings that machine
There
in.
you go.
The
bottom line for anyone in the pinball is even the older EM games can be fun if the games have been rebuilt and the components have been rebuilt to the point where they play like new again. And then people can really appreciate these EM games. Say, man, they are fun. And that's like, see, my kids, they're all into EM and solid state only because they grew up with it. But for a lot of the newer people, like you, Marty, you Manu, they're just young guys, you wouldn't even know what an EM game is probably, right?
Well, I mean, I was playing
I do.
I know what an EM is. And at Expo, Rob, I'm getting off my question track here, but one of the most joyful experiences I have at Expo is the early pinball demonstration. You'll name it better than I just did, but the How Pinball Works booth.
Well, what we did with a lot of the seminars are built around everyone for any aspect of the hobby. So what we're doing this year is we're having a workshop on EM pinball repair and understanding. And it's going to be on the show floor, something new we're doing this year. But there'll be workshops throughout the day there. People can go up there and watch how they repair flipper components or thumper bumpers. So it's more of a learning opportunity. But, Expo was one of the probably premier show in the hobby where we have so many seminars. Yeah. And this year, like I say, I've lost my mind in so many aspects of this show, but we have over 110 speakers speaking this year, which is mind-boggling. Some of the shows have 5, 10 seminars, but that's why you mentioned something early on in your introduction about having the show in Chicago, because I always felt that for the show to survive, it has to be where the industry is. Because let's face it, the guys that are in the hobby or in the industry, to ask them, hey, will you come to Expo? It's just a matter of getting in their car and driving the expo. Where the guys that have shows anywhere else, it's a flight. So it's a little bit more difficult to make it happen.
And
But it's allowed us to do, tour the factories, which is very unique with Pinball Expo,
that's awesome.
and meet the designers. We have the autograph session, and that's always fun to meet these guys and shake hands with them. And the one guy I'll bring to mind is Pat Lawler, and he was very instrumental in some of the early years of Expo. He was so popular. We had a seminar I coined the Pat Lawler Show. And, he would talk, but he would always clean off his desk of all the different things in there. This is back in the Williams days. And then he'd ask questions and give away some of these samples of things that he had that were either prototypes or whatever it may be. So
cool.
Pat Lawler is coming this year, but what's important to say here today live on this broadcast or podcast or interview, whatever you want to call it, but is that this is Pat Lawler's last show he's coming to. He's told me that he's been in the industry for a long time. He's burnt out, but let's face it, like anyone, to be in the show industry that long, there's got to be a passion for him as well. So he'll be speaking about 40 years of pinball through his eyes, and he's got a lot of guys on the panel that have been involved with the industry for a long time. So in my mind, that's one seminar you don't want to miss.
No, I won't miss that. Can you help me get hooked up with 10, 15 minutes with him? I'm kidding.
Anything is possible, man.
I'll hook myself up.
That's
awesome. Pat's made some incredible games and brought a lot of fun to my life over the years. It's nice to hear that he'll be there.
So, not only do we have all these seminars going on, but this year, for whatever reason, we typically average anywhere from 50 to 70 vendors. This year, it's also over 100 vendors at the show.
And over 100.
These people have just come out of the woodwork. It's amazing. And also, the vendor hall has grown. When we first did the show back in the early years, we used about 20,000 square feet of vending space. And then when I moved to this new location, we went from around 50,000 square feet. This year, we're going to have 100,000 square feet. So it's just crazy. It's massive. But we filled up the hall. We filled up with people, events, things to do. You really can't give the show justice just by being there for a day or two. You got to be there for the whole time, including Wednesday night when we all meet at the Interium. So Interium is like a Dave and Buster's, and there'll be food there. There'll be machines there to play.
Yeah, you give me a game card. It's great.
You get a game card. But what's cool about the show this year is we have more international people coming than ever. Well over 200 people. I think it's getting actually closer to 300 people that are just coming from Canada and anywhere beyond the U.S. borders. So
I know guys coming from Spain, Australia, France.
Crazy.
Amsterdam.
It's bringing tears to your eyes. Look at this guy.
No, I know a lot of these guys remotely, but to meet them in person, to share the hobby together.
Yes.
I mean, Manu, we're not fast friends. I think we are, but I love sharing pinball with him. When we finally get, we're all the way on different parts of the country, so to come together and get to beat him at Big Bang Bar, it's a wonderful experience.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really fun. And
one lucky game, Marty.
we're expecting so much going on this year. Another thing that's crazy this year is the home brews. And this year, last count, were about, I think, 36 or 37 home brew games coming.
Wow. There were some good ones last year.
It's crazy. I think what else it is, just the fact that we're hitting 40 years, it's got everybody pumped up. That's a big milestone. Imagine one guy running the show for so many years, because typically a lot of these shows, after 5 or 10 years, they just kind of filter away or they're sold to other people. But here you have the same guy going through the motions every year after year. So I think anyone that comes, they won't be disappointed.
Rob, when you were putting this idea together in 1984, I was in high school playing high speed at lunch and really starting to pick up pinball. And I'm wondering, since that time, over the years, you've had to have seen some incredible events. Obviously, the rise and fall of pinball and the rise again. But what are some of the milestones or moments over the last few years of Expo, in the 40 years of Expo, that have stood out in your mind? Anything?
Well, I think the one year was it. Can't remember when it was, what year it was, but when pinball was really just about to totally die.
2000,
It was
somewhere around there.
2000, and it was just hanging on a thread. And I remember we had a tour planned at a tour at Stern, and Gary said, you guys can come, but he said, there's not a whole lot to see. We only got one line going, and he said, you're welcome to come. So, I'll always think very highly of Gary because he's always been there to support the show in any way he can, the whole industry for that matter. And he believed enough in the industry to keep it going. And even in those early years when things looked really bleak, but as things worked out, things did work out for everybody. And I remember Steve Kordak saying, the pinball industry ebbs and flows. It hits the highs, it hits the lows. But right now, there's just so many guys in the industry. And that's one thing also, Marty, is, we're having a lot of, every manufacturer here in the States is represented in one form or the other. And a lot of European guys are coming. Dutch Pinball's coming and the Pinball Brothers.
And
So
I think you said there's a gentleman that redid that Radical machine a few years ago. I think he's bringing more machines as well, right?
Yeah, so Ivan's his fellow's the name. He's from Italy. This, when you think about something, if you guys are into high fashion, the finest clothes are either Italian shoes or Italian suits, Italian material. But the Italians think differently than we do, man. When they do things, they go overboard. And Italian ties, it goes on and on. But Ivan, he has rebuilt games. I had it last year at the Expo, Radical, you mentioned about. And as soon as I said, hey, Ivan, I'd like to buy it because I need that game for the pastimes. And he sold to me. But he had more people come up to him and say, I'd like to buy that game off you. But what he's doing is he recreated that Radical again and 5 other games. Ivan is bringing 6 tricked out games to Expo, all for sale. And let me tell you something, guys. His work is just absolutely pristine, A1, every adjective you could think of.
They're like limited editions on steroids.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you've seen it. And his work is just marvelous. So he'll be coming from Italy. And there's another guy coming this year that I've been after for 2 years. I finally got him come this year. Ivan knows of him, but this guy does custom aprons.
Oh, cool.
He makes the most beautiful aprons. They'll be for sale at the show, but you guys will see him there. He can do custom aprons too, but they are tricked out like you won't believe. Just gorgeous. So he'll be at the show too. He's flying in from Italy. So this is what's crazy for me about Pinball Expo, just the international scope of it, from the attendees to the vendors. And what happens is, let's get a little mellow now because Manu's a kind of a mellow guy.
Oh yeah.
But when you're around all these people, you can't help but talk to people and make friends with them. And the next thing you know, it's, hey, let's meet for breakfast tomorrow morning, or hey, how about for lunch? And next thing you know, you're developing a network of friends all over the world. And this is what happens at Pinball Expo. So be prepared, whether you like it or not. You're going to leave with your phone full of contacts of guys from all over the world, and they're great guys, good guys.
Yeah, you're getting robbed. The value you get for the price of admission, and all the variety you get, and all the pinball you get to play, and all the people you get to collaborate with. It's the price should be double. You're criminal if you haven't already bought a ticket, and even if you just come for Saturday or Friday, get there.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to try my Italian accent. Amano.
There you go.
I was handing it off to you, man.
was an Italian?
Mano. It's my Italian.
Hey Rob, how many games are you bringing to Expo?
Last count about 150.
Wow. Are there, so
one goofy guy is leasing 2 semis and 4 24-foot box trucks.
Wow.
So we're going to have a lot of games. That's just me. Now,
Yeah.
Stern, for instance, Stern has got the biggest booth in the history of Expo. They're bringing 60 games alone.
Wow.
You're bringing
60.
59 X-Men's.
Well, there'll be 25
Crazy.
X-Men and then the others. Yeah.
Oh, just
Jersey
25.
Jack, he's got the biggest booth he ever got. Chicago Gaming will be there with their games, and American, of course. So Spooky will be there. You know, these guys are really gone all out this year to make it a very special experience for everybody. And we're also bringing in some music on Saturday night. I thought since it's the 40th, I'd like to just kind of make everything at a grand scale. So I brought in a band, a local Chicago band that plays all the top 40 hits, and they're coming at 8:30 Saturday night. So anyone that comes there, be ready to have a good time, meeting friends, talking to people, and then once the music goes, you can jam down. You can watch Manu dance like crazy, do the splits and all his Michael Jackson and all this stuff.
Wait a minute. How did you know that?
Yeah, I gave him some footage. Sorry. You know all those clips I do of your channel?
But it's going to be fun, guys, and it's going to be fun for everybody. And just the things, there's so much happening there, guys, that you'll leave and you'll say, "Man, I'm tired of it. Man, I had fun." And you guys, it's really hard not to have fun as long as you're there in the right spirit. Every moment will be more fun than the next.
I'm always sad that it's over. I mean, that's the only reason I ever cry. It's over.
You know, Marty, what would really make my day is if I saw you there with a sleeping bag. What's the story here, Marty? I am camping out right now, right here, until it opens a year from now.
Well,
Then I know I got you.
I will be there on Tuesday, and you got me through Sunday. So, I mean,
That works.
You
That
did
works.
get me a lot more than last year.
But guys, there's so much happening there, and to see the show grow with the size it's growing is even for me. I have to sometimes sit back and just shake my head. But it's rewarding to see it, and rewarding to meet you guys, and to see the hobby continue to thrive, just based on podcasts like this where you're spreading the word.
And now you got a lot, guys. It's the 40th. Now, Rob hasn't said it here. I'll lead him into it. But there's a lot of events going on at Expo. A lot of things that haven't happened before. For the kids, there's some special stuff occurring. For those that like Flippy, the mascot, Flippy may be getting some friends this year.
That is correct. His sister's coming. Flipette is coming, and their little kid brother Chip. But also for the first time at this year's Pinball Expo, Aunt Tilt is making an appearance, as well as Poppy Pop Bumper. So make sure you see all of them.
Good old Uncle Poppy.
I'll tell you what else we're doing. I'm not sure how much has been publicized, so it'd be good to give you guys the first. But I mentioned early on the website about this comic book we're creating. So the comic book is done. It'll be for sale at the show. And the comic book is just loads and loads of all kind of fun little things to do, see, read about the adventures of Flippy. So I don't know how I come up with these crazy ideas.
I
But
got to get a copy of that.
Yeah, and I'm hoping Rob signs it, Manu.
Oh, yeah.
We can do
Let's
that.
get Rob get your copy and get Rob to sign it.
And then
There
we'll
you
get
go.
Flippy to sign it, and maybe Uncle Poppy.
Yeah.
Rob, is there any for the pinball diehards out there? Is anything being announced at Expo? I've already seen a couple of announcements prior to Expo, but do you know of anything being revealed at Expo?
Well, I mean, we have one game coming from the guys out of is it the Dutch Pinball? But Alice in Wonderland is coming to the show.
Yeah, they
they
showed
mentioned
that
Alice.
just the other day.
So I mean, there's snippets of it, but to actually see the game and play the game, that's going to be pretty cool.
Yep. So they'll have that there. You guys can play X-Men. You can play Avatar, I assume, will be there as well. So,
Right. And then ABBA will be there.
ABBA. You got to play Pulp Fiction if you go.
Pulp Fiction, yep.
Yeah.
Can I ask Rob, out of your collection, because I know you're not just bringing games. You're going to bring some rare games that people haven't seen.
Right.
Even myself, I saw pictures of your collection, and I've been in this hobby for quite a while, and I've seen the collection at the Alameda Pinball Museum. The annex was like 1,500 games, and then I saw some of your collection. I had never even known those games were invented.
Yeah,
Period.
give me a list of some games you want to see. I'll see if I can bring it.
Can you bring Sega Surfer?
That's coming.
Woo!
That is a great piece. I'm proud of that game too because it is so crazy, so unique. The mechanism that makes that run. But that game will be there.
We could go for a while. I don't want to spoil it for everybody, but there's a few that I'm going to be all up in Rob's collection. They're games that you've never ever seen.
Get me the list. I'll get it to Rob, and we'll make sure they're at the show if he can.
Rob, there was a remake they did of Kiss. That's a different name. I can't quite remember.
I don't know about that, but I do know this. And Marty kind of mentioned it early on, but the one of the Australian guys helped me acquire 5 games from Hanken. So Hanken was the manufacturer in Australia.
That's right.
And their probably most popular piece is The Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
That game will be at the show floor. And Manu, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Hit me.
There'll be an Empire Strikes Back for sale as part of the Captain's auction. Get ready. Hold on. Well, I'm getting a phone call. Who's this? Chris. Chris Campbell. This is Chris from Captain's auction. Yes, sir. You're gonna have an Empire Strikes Back on the auction. Oh my gosh,
Rob, I don't have that kind of cash.
Listen, brother, that's why they got credit cards. You buy the game, and you spend the next 4 months, paying on their credit card, and then when that credit card is about halfway paid off, then you use another credit card and just recharge everything and start again in another 4 months.
That is absolutely huge. Rob is the collector. For the collectors.
For collectors, yeah.
The collectors go to Rob and say, hey, what can I get? And Rob's the man. And all the games, by the way, at Pastime Arcades work, which is a big deal, as opposed to some other places that we won't mention.
I appreciate that. We try real hard to get them going. We have a staff of about 6 guys working on the solid state. I've got what else makes our pastimes unique is I got 15 gun games. So
yes,
Did you find a repair tech for those and the racing car ones?
Got them.
Oh.
Rob, what's the name of the gun game where after you've done your shooting, you get a card out of the side that shows you which?
Yeah, I had one of those on the floor and I took it down because the cards, no one took the card out, so they started jamming up inside there. But we have 15 games all running, all working. Wow. And there's a guy that's been helping me, Marcelo Blanco from Argentina. He's helping me get a lot of these games up and running and working. He'll be at Expo. This is another thing. I never knew this guy until he came to Expo, and he's got a great talent. So he'll be there as well as others. I'm just telling everybody out there in TV land, just get ready. Tell your spouses, tell the family, I'm leaving. The old-fashioned thing where you had to stick over your shoulder like the hobos and the bums, and they had a little knapsack tied to the end of the stick. And he said, "Where are you going?" "Mom, I'm going out the Midwest, not West, not East. I'm going to the Midwest, and I'll be at Expo. If you need me, don't call, don't write. I'll be busy having a great time because there's going to be so much to do there." And, guys, everyone that you see there at the show, whether it be Pat Lawler, Steve Ritchie, Jack Danger, all these guys that have been a big part of the industry, they're great guys. They don't mind getting, signing autographs, taking a picture with you. So, they're down to earth guys, and this makes it fun that you can meet them and mingle with them and talk to them. And this is your chance to say, man, I think you're a great designer. Thank you for the games you've done. So, that's another reason why I think it's fun to come to the show.
Definitely. Yeah. I say hi to Jack and Steve every time I'm there and reintroduce myself. It's fun.
Yep. Another guy's coming. He's coming from the West Coast, just from Manu. He goes by the name of Doug Watson. So Doug was an artist for Bally, and he did the Black Knight to me is one of my favorite art pieces that he did.
Wow.
So Doug Watson is coming in. He's a very articulate young man, and he'll be speaking at the show. So make sure you want to check that out.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
there's so many interesting guys here coming. One guy is Nick Parks is coming in from St. Louis. Nick Parks is the one that made a deal with Planetary Pinball and Brian Allen, and they have recreated Funhouse with Brian Allen artwork.
Nice.
So,
Wow.
and they've also changed some of the software in the package. So this game will be at the show for sale at Expo. Put the word out, Marty. Tell everybody.
Everybody.
So that's
Come.
one of the surprises. That is a surprise, but every booth has got its own surprise. You mentioned about things for the kids to do. We have a Tanner Walters is coming in, and he is having a deal for the kids, a workshop for the kids, and making a pinball machine. I mean, it's small scale. It's made out of popsicle sticks and a corrugated play field, and but the crayons and everything. But the kids can have a good time too. I mean, it's really a family friendly event. So for the mothers out there, should I join my husband? Yes.
Yeah.
Because once you come and start playing, the next thing you know, the women get more hooked on the hobby than the guys are.
Well, and they see a game like Labyrinth with David Bowie, and they make their husband buy a pinball machine, right?
There you go. So there's so much going on there, and then of course we have Antoinette. If you know Antoinette, she's the one that's got the mohawk hairdo.
Yeah.
So she's coming along with her kid sister, Maddie. Who, you say? Her kid sister, Maddie. Who's that? You'll find out and get ready. It'll blow your mind. That's all I can tell you.
That's fun. Rob, how do you balance running Pinball Expo and Pastime Arcade and, being a father and all the things you do? How do you
It's a secret, guys. The secret is a wife. And you got a wife that follows the passion and helps support the passion. And, happy wife, happy life. And when she's right, she's right. And when she's wrong, she's right. So as long as you follow that, you're in good shape. But I'm lucky that she's involved with the expo, and you'll see her when you first sign up. She'll be there, as all my family will be there. That's what make Expo also unique. It's a family deal. It's not like some of these, IAPA, which is a corporate. It's all corporate feeling, and the Expo is still a family event, family run, and you can tell, you can feel it. Everyone's shaking hands, hugging everybody. Hey, Manu, you made it! I can't believe it. Hey, do that split for me, will you? But stuff you don't hear from a corporate business, like give me your money next. So just get ready, guys, to have a good time.
So is your daughter ready to take over for you?
Well, she actually is my daughter. My eldest is the CEO of our family business, so she has done that.
Awesome.
And I'm kind of there to make sure she doesn't make any wrong steps.
You're an advisor at this point.
Yeah, free advising.
What do you envision for the future of Pinball Expo in the next, 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, it's a good question because, sometimes people say, you think you ever sell it and all that? And, not really. But I also think about something else. And that is, like you, Marty, we have the passion. You're gone. I'm gone. Yes, this could still go on, but it won't be the same. You won't have, the little things that I do. Every year I try to do something different to make the show special and fresh. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people just do the shows and it's the same old thing. Certain guys are always in the same corner selling this, or this guy selling that. So yeah. I just try to always make it fresh and original, and make the surprises never end. And I think this what also sets us apart.
Definitely does in my mind. Manu?
Amen, brother.
All right, man. Bring your ministry to Expo and get everybody all pumped up and ready to rock and roll.
We will. And a lot of my audience out there, you guys watch virtual pinball. Just so you know, there's a virtual pinball competition at Expo. Yeah. So come play that.
Paul Zimmerman's going to be handling that. So, we did something else new this year. Is my son is a big fan of the handheld video games, the retro stuff, the Nintendo, whatnot. So I've incorporated VGS, Video Game Summit. It's a friend of mine that I've met over the years, and he's bringing his show to Expo. So you'll see a little crossover of those vendors as well. But
Wow.
a lot of those kind of guys and those games have entered into the coin-op video world. So there's a crossover there.
Yeah.
And there's just so much going on. Where do I start? Other than the fact that I'm excited to even talk about it. Marty, you're a troublemaker because you got me excited. We'll be able to sleep tonight now.
I know. I'm sorry. I got Manu excited too. He probably has more questions.
I do, but I want to talk to Rob. I know I'm not going to be able to find you on the floor or anything, but maybe I just want to
You
talk to you
will.
about.
You'll find me.
You will.
I'll find
I
you.
saw him like 18 times last year, and his wife introduced me to him.
I would love to geek out about your games. So I look forward to meeting you, and it's nice to meet you.
I
here.
appreciate it. Yep. Come see me, buddy. Tackle me down, man. We'll talk. Unless I'm putting fires out, that happens too. There's no show goes perfectly, without any hiccups.
Well, you have a good crew there. Rob, I'll wind things down by saying, that first year I went, I saw your name on all these pinball machines, and I'm like, I wonder who Rob Berk is.
Who is this guy? Yeah.
Yeah. And then I found out you were from Ohio, and I'm like, oh, well, I should go meet
That's
this
a
guy
plus.
and learn more about him. And then the second year, I was helping Deborah out, and she's like, have you met Ron? And I'm like, oh yeah, he's the guy that brings all the machines. He goes, he's the organizer. And I go, oh, yeah. So it's been really cool to get to know who you are before I actually met you. Like Manu, I'm gonna geek out when I actually meet you in person, and I'm gonna come up to Pastime, spend some time with you. I want to get to know more about Rob, but
If you guys come down, I'll make sure I give you the double VIP tour. We'll go behind closed doors where all the games are stored.
Sold.
extra games. So Manu, you're gonna have
I
to
also-
come out. I'll put you
I
up
al-
in a room, and we'll go up there.
I also want to tip my hat off to Dave Fix. So Dave Fix has been involved with the show for several years, and he was one of these guys that just kind of helped out early on. Says, "Hey, let me help you with the AV," and he wasn't even on the staff, but he did, and now he's the vendor chair. But between himself and my wife and myself, we put together a lot of great vendors for this year, guys. So hold on to your hat. That's all I can say.
We're excited. Manu, do you want to ask anything else before we wrap up?
No, I want to go. I want to go now.
Yeah, we got to hurry, guys. You got less than
Good.
a week, and you got to get there. Well, I'll just wrap this up by thanking you again, Rob, for your time and letting you know how much I'm excited for Expo. We have a lot to talk about, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, guys. Looking forward to seeing you.
And for those of
Thanks
you
to everyone that tuned in. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
And for those of you sitting there, hoping you enjoyed it, but I hope to see you at Expo. If you come, tap me on the shoulder, grab Manu. Just be careful where you grab him. And say hi to Rob. Make sure you thank him for his time, contributions, and organizational efforts, because without guys like Rob, without Rob, we wouldn't have shows like this. So
I appreciate it, buddy. Appreciate it very much.
thank you.
Guys, be well. Don't work too hard. Stay well. Stay healthy.
Will do. Say goodnight, Manu.
Take care.
Good night, Manu.